Sporgy. ChristopherMedia.net.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
Hey, it's Rick from upstairs. Yeah, I take it seriously. When I play R&B at 1 a.m, that's me saying, hey, I'm here for you. And I enjoy repetitive bass lines. I only use expired batteries in my smoke detectors. Nice, right? Yeah, upstairs neighbors help people forget their troubles. Give them something else to focus on. Ooh, want to see how high I can jump?
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor.
No, wait, let me try again.
But we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Welcome to Sporgy, the show that gives you half-ass sports fans giving their half-ass opinions. And now, here are your hosts.
All right. Week 15, it's Fantasy Hack. I'm Chris. With me are JR and Jack.
Yo, everybody.
What's happening?
And yeah, hopefully you're still playing. Some leagues I am, some leagues I'm not. Thanks. When last we met, CMC was going to play. Everything was cool. No, once again, CMC doesn't play. David Johnson, last second appearance on the COVID list. You guys screwed me over in the Sporgy League. That's pretty much why I lost, as my running backs. I ended up trotting out DeAndre Washington and Duke Johnson in the running back spot. I knew it was trouble when that was happening, but I won 2 out of 3 matchups this week. Unfortunately, the one that I lost was, it was not a consolation bracket, so. For me in the Sporgy League, 4 point something points I lost by. I know, Jack, you lost in a similar fashion to your dad in the same league.
Yeah, buddy.
Mark Andrews couldn't pull it out. He was 4 points away. Yikes.
Boy, what a Monday night game that was, though.
Game of the year, easily.
Game for the ages, especially for gamblers who won or lost on that bull jive safety at the end.
Yeah, I heard it was quite the game. I didn't watch it. It's one of the few Monday night games I didn't watch, and I heard it was
back and forth, and then Lamar left the game with cramps and went to the locker room, and Trace McSorley came in, young guy from Penn State. I was rooting for him, and second possession, just a fluke thing. No contact or anything. He just awkwardly went down on his knee, and I think today I heard he has a sprained MCL.
Yeah, he does. It was not an ACL. He's going to be back for next week.
So
but Lamar had his Paul Pierce game.
It looked like he could have blown his knee out. It was pretty bad. They carted him off and everything, or carried him off. And then the announcers were panicking. Who's going to quarterback the Ravens? And Lamar comes out of the tunnel ready to play. And like at the first play, it was first or second play, throws a touchdown pass to Hollywood Brown.
And I heard he played like 2019 Lamar.
I had a great game.
He did at the beginning, but when he came back after the cramps, he didn't run. He was just throwing every time and throwing accurately, and got the victory. It was amazing. It was like you couldn't have written up a script for like that, where the other quarterback gets hurt, and just as the guy goes down and they're panicking, who's going to quarterback? Lamar comes out of the tunnel, and they actually said he didn't just come out because McSorley got hurt. He was just, he had got some treatment and was finally ready to come back out. And timing was everything. It was almost like you see the quarterback on the ground and everybody around him. They go to a commercial, and when they come back, here comes, Lamar to the rescue out of the tunnel like a superhero, and played like a superhero. It's amazing.
It sounds like it was, there's always a memorable Monday night game. It sounds like that was this year's, and I missed it. Damn it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But I'm glad it didn't get into overtime, because I didn't want Mark Andrews to beat me. So I live for fight another day in the Sporgy League. Also, both my money leagues I won. I was really worried. In the first one, I had 5 guys in the early window, and 5 guys totaled up a total of only 31 points. I thought I was dead.
Oof.
And the guy I was playing had nobody in the early window. He had 7 points from Cooper Kupp on Thursday night. Every single one of his players played in the 4 o'clock window. And he ended up with only 61 points. I was worried about my team until Jonathan Taylor ripped off that 62-yard run, and that put him over 100 yards, and in our league, long touchdowns are bonus points. And I never had to worry after that. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers. I got more than half of my points out of Aaron Rodgers and Jonathan Taylor. And that's how it goes.
Let's not bury the league for you guys. How about those new-look Eagles?
Oh, gosh, I didn't see that one coming. That was too bad none of us picked that on bold predictions. But it was good to see the Eagles finally look like a football team again. I think Hurts, not just his level of play, but just it gave the team a spark. And I think everybody around him was more motivated to do well. Once was in that funk for so long, and I don't know what it was. It's just a negativity. And it was good to get, everybody got excited and played well. Jason Peters, God bless him, great talent, but they finally sat him down for the year, and the younger guys are more effective than the old pro. I mean, great solid career. Anyway.
Well, it's funny you say that about the younger guys. It seems like the youth movement. It seems with Hurts and then Ward and then Rager. I mean, that seemed to be the name of the game on Sunday. And Miles Sanders, where you been? Nice.
Well, what's funny about that is because I was watching all the shows, the Matthew Berrys and everybody, and they have that stardom sit-em on all the pregame shows, and every one of them had sit-em. Miles Sanders, Saints #1 defense, haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in forever, and Hurts got 109 yards, and Sanders broke 100 yards. So they went from not allowing a 100-yard rusher in forever into allowing 2 in one game.
Yeah, I mean,
it's another reason that the Eagles are effective. Miles Sanders has averaged 5 yards per carry before this week, and they were giving him 8 and 9 carries a week. So that's on Doug Peterson.
Yeah, I did sit Miles Sanders in a couple leagues, and one it worked out, one it did not. So it's
my blind loyalty to not only a Philadelphia Eagle but a Penn State alum forced me to leave him in. I kept the faith, and I was rewarded handsomely. I had a great week. I think I lost. I think I was like 7-4, but 7-3 in playoff games. One league playoffs hadn't started yet. And now we got some of these. I think I'm in 2 leagues that have this stupid 2-week ESPN thing where your score is a 2-week composite score.
Yeah, I'm in
so,
one of those.
I like 25 points in one league, but I didn't win because it's a 2-week score that compiles over 2 weeks. So we're really weird, man. And then that means the finals are week 16 and 17. So week 17, you're playing with a skeleton crew of, some of your best players might be being benched for the playoffs. So
yeah, whoever you can cobble together.
I don't care for that format at all. I'm gonna have to reevaluate leagues I'm in. There's a couple I think I'm ready to give up on that just don't interest me anymore. But all in all, the big thing for me was winning in the 2 money leagues, my Vegas league and my Virginia league. And I beat Jack in another league too, but I think that was the league that hasn't started the playoffs yet, so no big deal there. Jack, you got the best of me earlier in the season, but here when it
mattered, I lost.
So
you're like the Lions.
Yep.
Experience over the young gun on this year, anyway.
How'd you do otherwise, Jack?
I believe I went 2? No, I think I went. I won 4 playoff games, which was good, but I had 2 of those were in leagues with the playoff format he was talking about, the 2-week playoff format. I'm in a Yahoo league where the championship is week 17, where I did win, and I'm favored again to win this week. But I know I did go out in 3 leagues, including 2 leagues where I played my dad, which really stung because I lost by minimal margins both times. And it was just a tough week overall. The big players I had, honestly, they just didn't produce. I have no other explanation. I played everybody I normally play, everybody's had a bad week. So, great. Couldn't pull me over the hump.
That's why we play the game, though, right?
Yep.
I survived another week with Zeke Elliott disappointing me, and it's not going to happen this week. I don't care who he's playing. I mean, if you can't get double digits against the Bengals, you're sitting next week for me. He's dead to me. I'm almost tempted to cut him out of general principle, but then I'm afraid somebody will pick him up and he'll score 20 points against me. So he'll just sit in my bench for the remainder of the year and will never be drafted by me as an owner again. I don't know what's wrong with him. I mean, it seemed like he was fine when Dak was there. Maybe it's a motivation problem. Maybe Cowboys' offensive line is just struggling.
Ding.
Pollard looks better than him. Pollard looks better than him right now, and that shouldn't be. I don't know. Isn't this his 5th or 6th year in the league? Maybe he's losing a step.
Yeah, I think he can't still be on his rookie. No, last year was when
he got paid.
He got the huge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the curse. Most big name running backs that get signed to that mega deal, something usually happens with injury or regression. I think CMC also got that huge deal, and look at him this year. But
yeah,
I don't know. The regression is inevitable for a running back. Like, you can't just continue to take those hits every year and just be elite, unless you're Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Speaking of running backs, how about Josh Jacobs' epic troll?
Oh,
that is the
not
funniest
cool,
thing
man.
I've seen in a while.
Not cool. I mean, I'm not an owner, but
And if I'd have had him in a league, I'd have probably pulled over and benched him. But I don't have him, and I think I have him in one league, and I'm like, I'm not pulling over. It was a free league, and I ended up leaving him in. But yeah, that was kind of a dick move.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not a Josh Jacobs owner, but yeah, definitely. Like, come on, you're not ingratiating yourself to the people that pay your paycheck there, Josh.
And how about T.Y. Hilton? Talk about coming back from the dead. He was dead and buried by everybody, including myself. And 3 weeks in a row, he's scored 12, 20, and 22 in my format. And I picked him up and benched him last week in my big money league, but he's available now this week. I was like, let's see if this is just a fluke or if it's an every week thing. And it's looking pretty strong. That I don't know what happened there, but he's clicking with Rivers finally, and people have picked him up. I mean, 2 touchdowns last week.
Well, to paraphrase Matthew Berry, he's Timmerfield Yates. He's probably having some people do very well in their consolation brackets this week because it's T.Y. Hilton. He's been like, he was left by the side of the road back at the end of October.
I picked him up off the scrap heap, and somebody else picked him up on the scrap heap in my Vegas league today. But I picked up Cam Akers, so that could be an interesting. That could yield some fruit. Certainly looked good last Thursday night.
Yeah, I just feel that Rams backfield is a trap. As soon as you trust somebody, you get screwed.
Akers was so far ahead of the other two, but you're right. It could be the kind of thing where Malcolm Brown comes in for a series and rips off a 50-yarder, and then they don't go back to Akers. So I don't know if I'm going to use him, but I certainly didn't want anybody else picking him up, and I'll figure it out later. But you know what? If I might just plug him in for Zeke. I can't do any worse than Zeke's been doing.
This is true. All right, so waivers. Anybody we're talking about?
Jalen Hurts.
I don't know if I'm ready to pick up Jalen Hurts.
I know, I'm just kidding. But still, is there anybody even? I can't even think of any names.
Again, if T.Y. Hilton's still available, if Cam Akers is still available, both of my money leagues that are available, I'm also high on Jeff Wilson Jr. I know you're probably cringing. I still think he's the best of that backfield, and Mostert can't seem to stay on the field. But then again, Jeff Wilson Jr. gets hurt all the time too. So you're probably in pretty rough shape if you're looking at picking up and starting Jeff Wilson Jr.
Yeah, you're playing a consolation game.
There are some of the sites recommending Jalen Hurts. I mean, you can't argue that he'd probably get you a lot of rushing yards. I mean, if he did that kind of damage against the Saints, he's facing the Cardinals this week. Could be a lot of running quarterback points in that game. Kyler Murray against Hurts, 2 running quarterbacks.
But I just wonder if you're picking up Jalen Hurts, are you in the playoffs or did you just lose? And you're trying to win the consolation bracket at this point.
Yeah, it's probably good point. I'm trying to remember. I had one league where I was undefeated, and I'm pretty thin at quarterback there for some reason. But I don't think I'm desperate enough for Hurts. Let me check that one out right quick. Jack always makes fun of this league, the college football
names league.
Of course, I'm the Penn State Nittany Lions. I play the West Virginia Mountaineers this week, but I finished 12-1 on the season. I had the bye last week. I have Lamar. So hopefully those cramps are going to be well in the past. But my backup is none other than the aforementioned Matthew Stafford. I also had a third quarterback on the roster, but I cut Phillip Rivers last week. But I think I'll be fine with Lamar against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right.
By the way, Miles Sanders is one of my starting running backs on that team. So loaded at receiver with Godwin, Metcalf, Justin Jefferson, and Keenan Allen. I can't ever figure out which one to bench each week. So
could have worse problems.
And James Robinson and Miles Sanders are my starting running backs.
There you go. Sounds like you can do all right.
Got on the bench last week.
Shall we
Good to have one team with a lineup like that. So, any other comments on individual players? Any key injuries we need to worry about?
I can't imagine anybody cares, but Gardner Minshew will play for the Jacksonville Jaguars, not Mike Lemon.
Well, he could pile up some yards against the Ravens because they'll be behind probably the whole game.
Yeah, but if you're starting Gardner Minshew at this point, like it's
if you're starting, insert anybody we're talking about involving waivers, you're probably not relevant at this point in the season.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the same page there, Chris.
Shall we get into the games?
Let's do it.
Chargers and Raiders. Oh, what's going on with Justin Herbert? Is he broken?
Yeah, he's definitely fallen off the ledge, hasn't he?
It's amazing to see what happens when you get film on a man.
Film on him? Could it be that?
I've heard that maybe Eckler coming back kind of hurt him because he's not throwing it as much.
Interesting.
But I don't know if we're starting Justin Herbert with confidence this week, especially against the Raiders.
The Raiders' secondary
defense is a joke.
Yeah, I have to agree with Jack there. I was listening to, they fired their defensive coordinator, Gunther, I think is his name. They fired him.
Yeah, that's going to do good. Yeah.
I mean,
Thursday night?
With confidence, though, just his last 3 performances have not been great.
Well, the Vegas defense might be just the tonic he needs.
Mm-hmm. But you're still starting Keenan Allen. Hunter Henry's still a starter if you got him. On the Raiders side of the ball, everyone's favorite person right now, Josh Jacobs, he's still a starter. He's still starting Waller. Ruggs just went to the COVID list. What do you do with Derek Carr?
He's probably a backup quarterback at this point. But, Jack, I think you started him against me last week. He actually hadn't been that bad.
I think that was actually an accident. Because I had him for the Jets game. I just wasn't paying attention, I guess.
That might have cost you that game.
Nah, I don't think I had someone worse on my roster. I think I actually had Matt Ryan on that team. So.
I know you had a lot of weak quarterback because you'd cut Wentz in a lot of leagues.
Oh my God, he was supposed to be like an MVP candidate this year.
Oh.
Yeah, I choked this year in drafting. Like 3 leagues.
Don't forget Nelson Aguilar, especially if Ruggs is out. Aguilar has been a pretty productive player for the Raiders.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
He stunk up the joint for the Eagles. He had it on and off. You know, the Super Bowl year, he had a great year. Every other year, it seemed like he fell off to being the guy that drops a bunch of balls and the fans were on him. But he has certainly enjoyed a renaissance in Las Vegas. His career is thriving in his new role there. And with no Ruggs, this could be a big week for him.
Yeah, Tune, it seems if they keep Waller quiet, Aguilar has a good game. So, it does seem things might be lining up for him to have a decent game. That's we talked about this last week, and apparently it is happening this year. We got some Saturday football. Bills and the Broncos. I looked over. I crunched some numbers before the show. I'm going out on a limb. I'm riding the Bills to and through the Super Bowl, and I'll tell you why. As of right now, as of when we are recording this on the 15th of December, the Bills have the most victory against teams above 500 of anybody in the league. If you go through of all of the teams above 500, and you analyze their records against teams over 500, the Bills have won the most games against above 500 teams. So that being said, yeah, you're starting Josh Allen, you're starting Diggs. You don't want any part of the running game on this team. Anybody else you're starting on Buffalo?
Nope.
No, but I like your take there. I honestly, as much as I talk about picks not hitting, Josh Allen was one of my picks in a lot of leagues that did work out. I thought a lot of people were slandering him for his inaccuracy. I thought he was going to have a good year this year, and he has proved it. So is Diggs. I think Diggs is a much better fit in that offense. He's getting way more volume than he was in Minnesota, and he's making plays. So, I mean, that's a dark horse Super Bowl contender, especially after the victory over the Steelers this week.
I mean, they're in the stat I gave, they're better than Kansas City. They're way better than Green Bay. They're way better than New Orleans. I mean, I don't think they're getting the respect this year that they should be getting. Once I looked at who they've beat and then and looked at everybody else, and just keep an eye on the Bills.
My only concern with the Bills is as the weather gets cold, especially up there in Buffalo, and the playoffs come around, that running game concerns me. You need to have that ball control running game where you're churning out. But, as long as they can pass the ball, it's a well-balanced attack, other than just concerns me that they don't have, a stud running back there, when they need that, 3rd and 3, and you pound it up the middle for that first down. But you get a 3rd and 1, you're just going to have probably Josh Allen will get that for you.
Well, I believe Matthew Berry, I heard him say today that Josh Allen's the best running back on the Bills.
Yeah, there you go.
And then the Broncos. Oh, the Broncos. What do you do? Do you start any Bronco at this point?
Melvin Gordon, I think, is a start this week.
I'm adding the receiving core to the fantasy trap because it is absolute. You never really KJ Hamler, 2 catches, 86 yards for 2 touchdowns. I saw that stat halfway through the day.
He's a speedster, but yeah, you never know what you're going to get there. It's like life. It's the Forrest Gump receiving core. It's life is a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get in Denver on any given week.
Yeah, Noah Fant's face is on the side of a milk carton at this point.
Yep. Tim Patrick is a popular fantasy ad, but again, if you're adding Tim Patrick to start in your lineup this week, you're probably not in the playoffs to begin with.
I have added Tim Patrick on so many teams this year to just be on the bench. So take that for what it's worth.
SportG, ChristopherMedia.net.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
Hi, I'm Tia. The upstairs-downstairs neighbor dynamic is so special. We have our own language. Like when I scream at my mom on the phone, the people downstairs bang on the ceiling to show their support. The nighttime's the best time to rearrange furniture. I call it midnight feng shui. And if I sleep through my alarm in the morning, they bang on my door to wake me. So thoughtful.
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor, but we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're going to fit
pop stars with auto-tune. And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
What?
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So the weather is just all over the place lately, right? One day it's hot, and the next day it's windy for a while. It's like, make up your mind already. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
ChristopherMedia.net. Sport G.
And then the other Saturday game, the Panthers at the Packers. It's looking like no CMC again. When we make a list of fantasy busts for this year, CMC, sorry, your name's going to be on it. I mean, thanks for nothing. I had my first pick. I had him in the Sporgy League. I mean, you were money when you were in, but at this point, I needed you last week. I scraped my way into the playoffs, and yeah, thanks for nothing. So, yeah, Matt Rule says once again, it looks like he's not playing. They don't want to shut him down for the year. He says he still wants to play, but no CMC again. So you could fire up Mike Davis again. Looks like DJ Moore is going to be off the COVID list. Who else is Robbie Anderson? But who else are you starting? Is that it?
I think you got them all, but yeah, don't discount Robert Anderson. What a year he's had. Resurrect his career after struggling with I shouldn't say struggling. He was still pretty effective with the Jets, but that's just because they were always behind. But man, he's really been impressive in Carolina. And then we go to the other side of the ball, and Aaron Rodgers, man, I think he might have what it takes to take me to a championship here. I got him in both of my money leagues, the Vegas League, the Virginia League. He'll be starting for both. I regret being stupid this year and sitting him down a few times because of matchups. Putting Lamar Jackson in over here didn't work. I'm putting in, I think 1 week I put Justin Herbert in over him because of matchups. He's matchup proof, man. He's Aaron Rodgers, and a lot of people wrote him off for dead and said that, he was on the downside of his career. They drafted a young quarterback. Well, you know what? He's as good as ever. He's as solid as they come. Both of those teams. Certainly the Virginia League. I had Lamar as a keeper, and I think I drafted Rodgers in like the 9th or 10th round to be my backup, and he's carried the team. So Aaron Jones, the other Aaron, he was quiet this week, but he's a solid start. You got to start him. Devontae Adams,
the best receiver in football, at least fantasy-wise.
Yep, Devontae Adams. Don't forget Stephon Diggs, though, from Buffalo. He's also had, I think he leads the league in receptions.
Oh, yeah.
Adams missed 3 or 4 weeks and still is right up there with the leaders. And then Robert Tonyan, you probably are starting him as the tight end group is. And he, even though he had that one big, huge week and then was quiet for a while, it seems like he's settling in as somebody that has a pretty good chance to give you, 8-10 points every week.
I think he's
the tight end position.
I think he's on about a month straight of giving you at least 10 points in the tight end position, which for the tight end position is great.
Especially this year because it's pretty thin and, with no Kittle and Andrews has been pretty quiet most of the year. So, you're starting lots of Packers, and it's in Green Bay. It's in Lambeau. It's a night game, too. It's probably going to be one of those cold weather games. Might be better. Good news for Aaron Jones owners, I'm thinking, and even Mike Davis probably see some more running in a cold weather game like that.
And moving to Sunday, Lions and Titans. Yeah. Hope you're ready to get run over, Lions fans. I'm not starting. TJ Hawkinson, end of list on the Detroit side of the ball.
And, of course, the Titans. The guy I'm playing in the Vegas Money League has Derrick Henry. I expect him to run for like 300 yards against the Detroit defense. Probably have his way with them. Tannehill, you probably can start him against Detroit, don't you think?
He has been a guy that he's just been fantasy average this year. Like he's
like usually good for about 210 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns. He's not going to get you those 300-yard days and those 4 touchdown games, but he's going to get you – he's a solid. So it depends on who else is on your roster, but certainly against Detroit, there's a pretty good chance he's going to put up something.
Oh, I'm definitely starting A.J. Brown against that Detroit secondary.
Oh, yeah. And did you see that A.J. Brown catch last week?
Sure did.
One-hander. Whoa, there were some good catches in the league this week. Real good catches, and that was one of the best. So, yep, A.J. Brown for sure. I don't know about Jonnu Smith. I think that you got like 3 tight ends that are all like banged up to different degrees, so I don't think there's any one of them worth starting.
And Corey Davis should bounce back. He had his worst fantasy performance of the year last week. I'm sure he will bounce back, not only because that's how things go, but also because he's playing the Detroit Lions.
Lions seem rejuvenated since Matt Patricia was gone, but they're still the Lions.
Yeah, and the Titans are playing to keep their playoff lives alive, and the Lions are, Bucks and Falcons. Let's see. TB12, is he still a locked-in starter?
At Atlanta, he sure is.
Who do you start in the Bucks receiving core? Is it time to? We've been saying it feels like for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, this seems to be the week for Antonio Brown. Are we done playing that game?
I wouldn't be starting Antonio Brown, but I would start Mike Evans, and I would probably start Chris Godwin. I think it's obvious to me that those guys are a notch above Antonio Brown right now. And I don't know, maybe it's just because he's been out of football for a while, but he hasn't had a game yet.
I think Antonio's just happy to be here.
Yep, he might be just
ring chasing.
But I like Evans a lot in this game, and I like Godwin a lot in this game.
What about Gronk?
Gronk, touchdown dependent, but probably good for 8 to 10 points, assuming he gets that TD. No TD and no good day for him. So
what about the Falcon side of the ball?
I'm still sold on Matt Ryan. I think a game like this, they'll probably be behind and throwing more. I am not sold on Gurley, especially Tampa Bay's pretty good against the run. I think you're going to see a lot of throwing. Calvin Ridley's obviously a start. I don't know what Julio's status is. He missed last week. He missed 3 weeks ago. Then he came back. That 1 week he came back and got hurt and was in and out of the game. I don't know what's going on with him. He's on my roster in my big money league that I got to have this week. I'm going to be very skeptical whether I should be putting him in unless he's 100%. Looking 100%, but every week they say he's 100%, and then the next week he sits out. So you have to just think that he's broken. I would be more confident with Ridley than I would with Julio, but Julio is too good that if he's active, you almost have to say I got to put him in, because even on a bad day when he's in the lineup, he gets 90 yards for you.
And Hayden Hurst, another person that'll be on the list of 2020 fantasy busts.
Yeah, I saw him on a milk carton as well.
49ers and Cowboys.
Hey, don't forget Young Ho Koo. Is he healthy, though? I heard he might be hurt. No, I think he's fine. Never mind.
I got him on a few rosters. It seems
one of the best kickers in the league. Young Ho Koo and Rodney Blankenship. I'm willing to bet they didn't start many rosters at the beginning on week 1 on anybody's team. They're now among the top kickers. And you got a guy like Harrison Butker missing extra points left and right. Go figure. That's the world.
Or what was it, Dan Bailey last week who missed 4?
Oh, yeah. You got to cut him if you don't have him. He accounted for 10 points missed.
Niners and Cowboys. Speaking of Dan Bailey. In my opinion, I think on the Niners side of the ball, Brandon Ayuk, and that's it.
Yeah, it's hard to trust anybody else. I would agree.
Deebo Samuel, that man cannot stay healthy.
No. China doll. He's a China doll.
Yeah.
I'll give him 1 quarter.
Seems like Raheem Mostert's another China doll.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the aforementioned Jeff Wilson, who I think looks really good when he's in, none of these guys can seem to even get through a whole game without some kind of an injury. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely taking a look at the strength and conditioning coach in San Francisco and be like, what's going on here? What are we doing or not doing? The Cowboys. We know your feelings on Zeke.
God. And you just know when you take him out, he's going to have a game. But he hasn't really had a game. He's had one 100-yard game the entire season. Can you believe that? I mean, he was drafted third or fourth in almost every league.
Yep.
Overall.
Trust me, yeah.
He will not be on. He's an undraftable player for me next year and beyond.
Wow. Bold.
I can't do it anymore. And you know what? I know Dak might come back healthy and the team will be better and maybe he'll go back to the old Zeke, but it's not going to be on my roster. I'll be watching from afar.
Amari Cooper has been quietly average, which is good. I mean, I'd still be starting him if I had him, if I don't have better options. But as far as the Cowboys, that's it, right?
I think so. I know Dalton Schultz could be a thing, but I certainly wouldn't be confident going into my semifinal playoff game with Dalton Schultz as my tight end.
Yeah.
That entire team was just a letdown this year for fantasy. Dak going down. CD was supposed to be like the best rookie, and that didn't pan out. Amari Cooper didn't have the gear he was expected to have. Zeke sucked.
Until Dak went out, they looked like world beaters.
Yeah, except for that defense, though.
Yeah, they only had Dak for what, though? Like, what was it, 4 games?
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks, yeah.
Speaking about going back to Dalton Schultz, I will tell you, I've started him a few times this year, and when I have, it's been the situation you were just talking about, Jer. Like, you needed a body. And that is when I have started Dalton Schultz this year. And if you're starting him, that's probably the situation you're in. Texans Colts.
Could be a field day for the Colts. Jonathan Taylor, the Houston has a very poor running defense, and Jonathan Taylor, these last 3 weeks has really come on. And gosh, he saved my season on the big league last week with a monster day, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had that long one. He's looking to get better every week, and now he's got the Houston defense. I'm also, we've already talked a little bit about, I'm high on T.Y. Hilton. You can't deny, he's got 3 weeks of double-digit scoring. I think he had 12, 20, and 22 in the standard format I'm in. So, T.Y. Hilton, man, I'd rather have him in my lineup than Pittman. And, a month ago, everybody was hyping Pittman, and he's kind of forgotten now.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, by the way, if I'm Marlon Mack, I'm preparing to get traded.
Yeah. So, Nyheim Hines is he's a little bit of a vulture, too, because I remember the last week, first drive, I think Jonathan Taylor had like 60 yards, and that was before he had the big long run. He had like 40 yards rushing and 20 receiving on that first drive alone. And then the next drive, they put Hines in completely, for the entire drive. No breather, no this guy goes in and this guy goes out. And then you got Jordan Wilkins, every now and then going in. So it's still a little bit of an annoyance as a Jonathan Taylor owner, knowing that there's 3 of those guys that get rotated in and out. You're not going to have a bell cow, but
yeah,
Taylor seems to have really come on and established himself as the best of the 3. I think Hines is still the better pass-catching back, probably being on third downs.
Yeah. I think the only Texan we're starting is Deshaun Watson. That's it.
Yep.
David Johnson.
Now that Will Fuller has been exposed as a substance abuse suspension, there's nobody else there noteworthy. No Duke Johnson, no David Johnson, no any Johnson.
David Johnson, I'm looking for you. You cost me a fantasy playoff win. Just saying. Patriots and Dolphins. You're not starting.
Patriots.
Yeah, no Patriots.
It's a train wreck.
Yeah. Yeah, you get Pam. Yeah, Cam got benched last week. Did we talk about that? If we didn't, we are now.
I wonder if he's even going to start this week.
I think I heard that he is. Like Belichick said, yeah, we're not benching him. He's still starting.
So in my Vegas league, a guy that was in the playoffs started him and got 2 points.
That always hurts when that happens.
Yeah, and I forget who his backup was. It was a much better option. I'm like, what are you doing? Well, he runs a lot. I thought he'd get some rushing points. And needless to say, he's
not against the Rams.
Bonehead move.
Yeah, no Pat. You're starting no Pat with confidence.
Nope. I know you've heard me say I'm on the Damian Harris bandwagon, but not this week against Miami. No, thank you.
Yeah, in Miami, I mean you gotta love that Miami defense. They just keep producing for you. But as far as who you're starting with confidence, thanks for nothing last week, Devontae Parker. I've done nothing but talk nice things about you, and that's how you do us. But who are you starting on the Dolphins with confidence? I mean, I know they're a decent team this year, but fantasy-wise, I mean, yikes, right?
Gesicki had 2 touchdowns last week.
Yeah, Gesicki had another good week.
Oh, that's right.
Jack and I were watching Red Zone, and he even told me, he goes, "Oh, you got to bust Chris's chops on that. Gesicki 2 touchdowns." But then he went out of the game injured, so.
Yep.
So he doubled what he had 4 on the year, and then he had 2 in one game. But
I was just glad to see Tua going to him because Fitz tended to do better with Fitz in, but I think Tua is finally connecting with him a little bit. But yeah, I don't know if there's really much that I'm looking at in this. Miami running backs. Gaskin was on the COVID last week. What was it? DeAndre Washington.
Thanks for 7 points, buddy. Thanks.
If Gaskin's back in, maybe, but the New England run defense isn't terrible, I don't think. I don't know. I don't want anything to do with.
Yeah.
I won't be starting any Dolphins except the defense.
They're good in real football, fantasy football. Yeah, stay away from the Dolphins. Bears and Vikings. Vikings playing to be in to stay in the playoff conversation. Bears just playing.
Last week? Mitch Trubisky actually looked like an NFL quarterback, but who was he playing?
Who did the Bears play?
I thought it was the Lions.
It was the Texans.
It was the Texans.
That's why. He played Houston.
But you got to give Trubisky credit.
Yeah, and it looks like David Montgomery.
Minnesota's not a great defense.
What's that?
Minnesota's not a great defense by any stretch of imagination. I'd start an A-Rob, I'll bet. I'd start A-Rob.
Yeah, and then David Montgomery, it took, 3 years? He's finally a thing?
Yeah, well, that's because there's Tariq Cohen. As soon as he went out, Montgomery got better because they weren't spreading that all around. But this is the first stretch of Montgomery's career that I've actually believed in him. The rest of his career, I wanted nothing to do with him. And these last 3 or 4 weeks, I'm like, yeah, I'd probably start him if he was on a roster. But that being said, I'm kind of thankful he's not.
And then the Vikings, don't get cute. You're starting Dalvin Cook. You're starting Adam Thielen. Justin Jefferson, he a flex?
Yeah, I'll be starting him.
Cousins. What do you do with Cousins? Back up?
If you're desperate.
Yeah.
If you're starting Trubisky or Cousins, you're probably in trouble.
Yeah. You're in the consolation bracket.
Yeah. The only saving grace is this is in the Dome. Or no, isn't it? Yeah, it's in Minneapolis, so not outside, so that should favor the passing game a little, but I'm not starting either quarterback in this game.
Seattle and the football team, the surprising football who are in currently, they are the ones that would win the NFC least.
I've always despised the Redskins or the Washington football team, but when I lived in the D.C. area for 17 years, they were the Redskins, and as an Eagles fan, I've despised them. But I heard some stuff on Sirius today on the radio that really brought things into perspective. Is they interviewed one of the Washington players. I can't remember who it was, but the player
it was Jonathan Allen, who's the Walter Payton Man of the Year.
That's right. And they were like, we watched our coach fight cancer and show up after cancer treatments, and that made us want to run through a wall for this guy. And then they said, then we look over at Alex Smith, who almost died from a football injury and shattered his leg in so many pieces and is now back and starting and playing. And that really inspires us to go out there and play hard. And you have to you see it in their play. They're not the most talented group, and he's even admitted there's times when the talent was just too much to overcome. But he said, we're not going to be accused of ever not playing hard. And you're seeing that with the football team. And boy, that Chase Young sure looks like he's going to be a stud in the league for a long time. So could be some problems for Mr. Russell Wilson. We'll see. Russ was cooking really good at the beginning of the year, and he kind of calmed down. I haven't seen that level of play that he had in those first 6-7 weeks.
Yeah, because you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say it. Seattle, not that good. They've only beaten they only 2 of their 9 victories are against above 500 teams, and those 2 victories are against the same team, Arizona. Just think about that, kids. I know it's a hot take, but DK Metcalf, right, seems to be the leader now. It's Tyler Lockett seems to has become an afterthought. Would you agree?
Lockett had that one huge game, but other than that, Metcalf has stole the show. Obviously, you're going to start Russell Wilson in this, but the Washington football team has a pretty good defense, so you might want to temper your expectations for letting Russ cook this week, and it is in Washington.
Chase Young making a push for Rookie of the Year.
I agree.
But on the Washington side of the ball, I mean, who you really starting? You're Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas.
That week, maybe Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, every week, maybe Terry McLaurin. I guess Logan Thomas is starting to become a thing because tight end's so shallow. But yeah,
no Antonio Gibson now. So he's really, if you're starting J.D. McKissick, you're desperate.
Yep.
Really, maybe Logan Thomas, maybe Terry McLaurin. And we got maybe in front of every one of these guys. So, watch the football team, root for them. They have overcome a lot. It's hard. It's a hard team to really root against. You almost kind of are pulling for them as the underdog, but this might be a better football game than we see. But as far as fantasy, your value is with a couple of those Seattle players. I don't really see much value with Washington. Somebody's going to score points and file up some fantasy points for Washington, but it's probably not going to be a household name.
Yeah.
SportG, ChristopherMedia.net.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for the previews to start in a movie theater.
Hey, you want anything? Popcorn? Soda? No, nothing?
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
Hi, I'm Tia. The upstairs-downstairs neighbor dynamic is so special. We have our own language. Like when I scream at my mom on the phone, the people downstairs bang on the ceiling to show their support. The nighttime's the best time to rearrange furniture. I call it midnight feng shui. And if I sleep through my alarm in the morning, they bang on my door to wake me. So thoughtful.
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor, but we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
ChristopherMedia.net. SportG.
Jags and Ravens.
Oh, please. Lamar Jackson, I hope he's okay from those cramps because, boy, he looked like Superman. He looked like last year's, for one game. It's a shame you missed the game. Chris, I'd almost say go back and watch the replay if you have the NFL Network because it was on tonight. Man, that was a game for the ages, and Lamar was just on fire, man. He willed his team to win. It was a back and forth. I think Cleveland had a 2-touchdown lead twice in the game. And give Cleveland a lot of credit, but this was the old Lamar. He was back for at least 3 quarters until he got that cramp thing and went out. But then he came back and rescued the game at the end too. So, but you know what? That Baltimore rushing attack, I think maybe there might be a slight preference for J.K. Dobbins is finally getting a little bit more carries.
Yeah.
But you can't ignore that there's still, Gus Edwards and Mark Ingram are still a factor there. So I don't think I'm confident starting any of the Baltimore running backs. We've pretty much agreed on this every other week. Although it is against Jacksonville, so they get a big lead, maybe they'll be handing the ball off, and maybe they'll go with the youngster because Dobbins looks like the best of that bunch right now. Gus Edwards, though, didn't he have like 2 touchdowns, I think, Jack?
Yes, he did. I'm a big fan of Gus Edwards, and I think he has a good game this week. I know you like Dobbins, but Gus did have 2 touchdowns. He's a power back. They like to use him on 3rd down and in the red zone. So, I mean, this is like that one year that LeGarrette Blount had all those touchdowns, but he had like no yards. This is that year they just put Gus in on the goal line and he usually picks up the score. But I mean, as far as elusivity goes, I think, yeah, Dobbins is the way to go. He's going to pick up the most yards. He's probably the most fantasy relevant running back. Ingram great guy, but I think his time and his NFL days are numbered.
Yeah, he definitely was not worth owning in fantasy this year.
I agree.
But
Hollywood Brown finally had a big play, but we always say whenever he has one of those, that's it for this month.
Yeah.
So I'm not confident, although it is Jacksonville. Maybe he gets behind everybody and gets a bomb this week. Could happen. Against that Jacksonville secondary is nothing. It's very suspect. So we'll see.
Yeah. That Super Bowl's a long time ago. James Robinson, probably the only Jag.
He's back.
Oh, what's that?
Mark Andrews is back. It looks like the real Mark Andrews is back and
resurrected.
He had a very quiet start to the season, but I think ever since Boyle went out with that injury, he's got more targets and he's making the most of them.
Yeah.
And don't forget Justin Tucker, who won the game with a 55-yard field goal. One of the best kickers in the game.
Mm-hmm. And then Jag side of the ball, you're starting James Robinson, and that's it, right?
Yep.
And Minshew's back. It might make DJ Chark worth owning, but at this point, DJ Chark's been on your bench.
DJ Chark is joining Zeke Elliott, and he will be he'll be riding the pine. They'll be riding the pine together on my fantasy team this week.
Jets and Rams. Ooh, this could be an ugly one.
Ooh, yeah, and my opponent has the Rams defense in the big money league. It's in the Vegas league. That sounds bad, but yeah, that's the home run of defense. If you can get the Rams defense against the Jets this week, you're guaranteed 20 points.
I was talking all this mess all year about the Rams, but they're now kind of like my dark horse pick to come out of the NFC.
Cam Akers.
Yeah.
Cam Akers this week. It is the Jets. Although the Jets seem to be better against the run than the pass. So this could be that week that you'd have Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, both got 100. Mm-hmm. Maybe Tyler Higbee, maybe. I don't know if I'd rely on that, but it is the Jets. So it's kind of like start all your Rams. The only problem with that is the running back situations is just, that's the toughest. But I really do think Akers established himself last week, but we'll see. You can't rely on that. You just can't.
Yeah, and if you're starting a Jet, you're not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Eagles and Cardinals. Yeah. Going to be second week of the new look. I thought it was comical that it was seeing things like people were like, oh, Doug Peterson doesn't know who he's going to start in week 15. I'm like, yeah, he does. He's going to start the guy who just beat the Saints.
So, I don't think he would have been. I don't think he would have made it out of Philadelphia alive if he announced he was starting Wentz.
Yeah, no, I think the Carson Wentz era. I think we have seen the last of him starting.
Certainly for this year, but
it's been one game.
It'd be a big soap opera in Philly in the off season because that's a tough contract to get out of. But the only way they're going to get out of that is with a trade. But. Moving to this week, Miles Sanders, everybody said sit him last week, and look what happened. You're not sitting Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
You're just not.
But that's probably it on the Eagles side of the ball, though, right? That you're starting with confidence. And Ertz seems to be the shadow of himself.
Yeah, no, I'm not confident. And then now we have the same situation with 2 good tight ends, and which means we really don't. It was better off when Ertz was still hurt and Goddard was getting all the action. Now they're trying to spread it among 2 of them, so you're probably not worth starting either of them.
Mm-hmm.
And is there really a receiver? Can you believe that there was an Alshon Joffrey touchdown last week? First touchdown of Jalen Hurts goes to Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, talk about an albatross, man. This guy has just choked the Eagles' salary cap for 2 years, hardly played at all, and he scored a touchdown last week.
Reminded everyone in the league he's still around. Hey, everyone, I'm still here. Remember me?
But you can't. I don't think you could start any Eagles receivers. I just don't. There's nobody relevant enough,
Then Cardinals. You're definitely starting D-Hop. Kyler Murray, is he still must start?
I think this week he is. Put it this way, if you're in the playoffs, you probably got there because of Kyler Murray when he was playing well. These last three weeks or so, it seems like he's regressed a little bit. I don't know whether teams are catching up to him or what it is. But I can tell you the Eagles' defense, even though they played admirably against the Saints, they're banged up. There wasn't a whole lot of talent to begin with. I think Murray's going to score early and often in this one.
How about the Cardinals' backfield? Do we want any part of it?
The Eagles are pretty good against the run, but the one thing they do is they'll occasionally give up that big, 80-yard run. That's what they do. They bottle everything up and they let one big one go. But so I don't know. If you have Kenyon Drake, you're probably starting him. I don't think I'm starting Edmonds. Earlier in the year, I was totally convinced that he was the superior back, but he had his opportunity when Drake was hurt, and he didn't seize it.
Yeah, he blew it.
And so I don't think you're going to have a 150-yard day from Kenyon Drake, but you'd probably get a touchdown and maybe 70, 80 yards out of him.
And then game of the week. I'm surprised this hasn't been flexed to the night game, but it is what it is. Chiefs and Saints. At this point, we know who it is. Mahomes, Cheetah, Kelsey. What do you do with CEH?
Jeez. I don't know what you do. I'm probably not going to play him against the New Orleans D. But then again, look what Miles Sanders did last week. Look what Jalen Hurts did last week. And you got a running quarterback again. So which Saints defense are you going to see? The one that played excellently the last month or the one that played last week in Philadelphia? So I guess it depends what your options are, but I would be very cautious with CEH. I'm not seeing it with him.
Saints at Kamara, Thomas. Who else?
There was a Cook sighting last week.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Touchdown Dependent himself.
So, that might be a play if that's your best tight end. You're not starting Traquan Smith. I don't know what to say about Taysom Hill. Yeah. Probably not.
Browns and Giants.
It's actually a better game than people think. The Browns played very well Monday night. I don't know if they're going to be spent from that on a short week. It is the night game, so gives them a little bit of extra rest. But it's still 6 days.
Is Baker a thing now?
The Giants looked good there for a few weeks, and then I don't know what happened to them last week. They became the old Giants that we know and love. And
is Baker a thing now?
I'm convinced. I'd play him against the Giants.
Obviously, you start the Cleveland running backs. What about Cleveland pass catchers?
Maybe Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, Landry Landry.
Rashard Higgins actually had a couple touchdowns, I think. At least one I know he had. But no, I think Landry, if anybody, and that's even, probably flex at best.
Let's put it this way. If Landry isn't open, he's throwing to Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's all you need to know.
That's true, but I don't think Jonathan Peoples-Jones is going to be fantasy relevant this year.
Or any year.
Daniel Jones was the key. Daniel Jones was playing very well, and that's when the Giants were rolling. And then he got hurt, and then he came back last week and played hurt. I don't think he's going to be the running Daniel Jones, the running threat that we saw earlier in the season, and I think that's big trouble for the Giants. I think that's what was giving them a lot of success, similar to how that opened up Philly's game with Hurts. So without a running capable Daniel Jones, he's just pedestrian statue in the pocket. I think Cleveland's going to get a lot of sacks. There might be a turnover or two. Wayne Gallman is probably somebody I'd consider starting as a RB2 or maybe a flex. Can't deny that he's been pretty productive these last 4 to 6 weeks. Beyond that, I don't think there's any Giants receivers you can count on. And every week we talk about Evan Ingram, and I think if you have Evan Ingram on your roster, you'll probably never draft him again.
Yeah.
He's more hype than he's a lot of hype and very little results. You know,
I said goodbye to him a long time ago.
Athletic freak that's supposed to be great, but seems to drop a lot of balls and not get it done.
Yep. Wade, you got a lot better options at tight end. So yeah, one Giant we're starting is what we're getting at here. And then Monday night, Steelers and Bengals. Steelers finally showing some cracks in the facade. But don't think they're going to lose. But so on the Steelers, who are we starting with confidence?
A lot of silence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I can't rely on either of these running backs. Benny Snell didn't get it done when Connor was hurt. Connor wasn't getting it done when he was healthy. So I'm going to rule those two out right now. I know there will be some diehards that are going to say, "No, I'm starting Connor." Good luck with that. It is the Bengals. Maybe that'll work out. But I mean, gosh, what do you do with all these receivers? They're all over the place. You start Deontay Johnson. He was benched for dropping the ball. Juju Smith-Schuster is probably the most likely to give you a decent day, but there's no guarantees. James Washington. I'm not starting James Washington. You're not starting James Washington. No one's starting James Washington.
Yeah, I don't think he's on many teams.
What about Eric Ebron?
If you're starting Ebron, you need a body.
That's like a notch below Ingram, and that's all you need to know there.
Yeah.
So I don't, are you starting Big Ben even? He arguably he might be the most startable of all of them, and I'm not. It is the Bengals.
And Ben even called himself out last week. He said, "I either start playing better or stop playing." I'm paraphrasing him, but that's essentially what he said.
Well, there was a meme going around that I posted on a couple groups when the Steelers lost their first game against the Washington football team, and it was Pittsburgh Steelers are possibly the worst 11-0 team in NFL history. And I think you're right. If you looked at their schedule, they beat up on a bunch of nobodies.
I crunched all these numbers. The
Bills tore them up.
3 of those 11 victories were against teams over 500. So 8 of those victories were, they were beating up on nobody.
Yep.
So
the Bills really showed me something, man. They took it to them. So, but that being said, there's nothing better than coming off of a brutal loss like that than a trip to Cincinnati to play the Joe Burrow-less Bengals.
Yeah, are we starting any Bengals anymore? I've started to see T. Higgins back on waiver wires.
Yeah, I have taken T. Higgins on a roster. There's no way I'm starting him. I did start Tyler Boyd last week. I don't remember if he did much, but I just figure against the Steelers they're going to be behind and have to throw. They're going to abandon the run. The problem is there's nobody to throw the ball. So I am probably not going to start a Bengal.
Yeah,
just
nobody
forget
is.
about it. Giovanni Bernard, forget it.
Yeah.
Drop him. Is Mixon coming back? I don't think so.
Nah. All right. So I guess that's it for week 15. So I guess it's time to get bold. I know I shat the bed again.
Everybody shat the bed because I picked the Patriots over the Rams on Thursday night, which was an embarrassment. So I don't know what I was thinking there. Chris, you picked the Vikings over Tampa Bay. That didn't work out.
Oops.
And Jack picked the Raiders over the Colts. That didn't work out either. So we had a big week the week before, not so much this week. So let's go through some of the personal stuff. Dalvin Cook, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jack, you got your stats handy?
Cut that in half for Dalvin. I think he had 1 touchdown, 100 yards.
So there. Not really. He didn't meet that expectation. So That's an X. I picked Josh Allen to get 250 yards and 3 total touchdowns against the Steelers. I think I might be looking pretty good there.
Hang on, let me check. All right. Josh Allen had 238 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Is that running and receiving or just passing? Didn't he get a running one too?
Nope, but he did have 28 yards on the ground.
Okay. So I came up a little short. I came up 12 yards short on the 250 and 1 touchdown short. So that's another X. Almost, but not quite. And Justin Herbert, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Lol.
I think we struck out on all accounts here. Then we had a couple bonus plays here. Chris picked Russell Wilson for 300 yards and 3 TDs. I don't think that worked out.
No.
Even against the lowly Jets, I don't think he needed those.
Geno Smith had 33 yards. He did hit on his touchdowns. Russell Wilson had 4 touchdowns, but he only had 200 yards.
Well, not bad, but still an X. And I picked Stafford to have 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think he got hurt and didn't get that. What was Stafford's stats?
244 on a touchdown.
Okay, so I missed. And Jack, this really wasn't very bold, but you picked Cheetah to get 100-plus yards. Tyreek Hill, did he get his 100? I don't think he did.
What? I think he did. No, he did not. Wow, he only had... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, he only had 79. Wow, Kelsey had 136, though.
There you go. So a big goose egg on the bold predictions this week. But, we hit pay dirt the week before, so let's look at Week 15. Huge fantasy week for those still in the playoffs. Let's take a look at this schedule. Let me pull up some Vegas odds, and let's get some predictions. Chris, you can be on the clock first.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Give the Eagles over the Cardinals.
That is a bold prediction.
I'm not believing in the Cardinals like I was back at the beginning of the season.
Well, the Eagles did play much better against the Saints. So
they look like a different team.
I just think they needed a spark. I think, and taking some of those older guys out of the lineup and letting the youth play, it injected some life into them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Jack, you got anything in mind here?
I'm taking a look.
Let's hear that something makes works. I know nobody's going to pick the Jets over the Rams. That would be the all-time boldest prediction ever, and I can't go there. Can't go there. Jeez, no. 11 and the line is 13. Bengals. All right. Well, this doesn't seem that special, but no, jeez. Yeah. I'll go with this one. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. Looks like the line opened up at 6.5. That doesn't seem right, but now it's at 3. So. Again, not a huge bold pick. It's Minnesota's favored by 3, probably because they're at home. I'll take the Chicago Bears to win in Minnesota.
Right.
That puts it up to you, Jack.
Well, even though I don't agree with the odds on this one, as the Seahawks are favored by 5 in Washington, I'll take the football team.
That was one I almost picked that one.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Chris. The Seattle just doesn't look like the team that we saw the first half of the year. But I don't know, man. It's really hard to count Russell Wilson out when the chips are down. But that Seattle defense is not what it once was. So let's go look for some individual predictions here. So, Chris, you're up for that.
Give me the GOAT for 302 TDs over Atlanta.
That is a suspect secondary. That's very doable. But Tom hasn't been playing his best football, and I'd say that's pretty bold to say that he'll get his 300. Gosh, let's see a couple. Jack, you going to pick some Minshew magic?
No.
Well, gosh, New Orleans, I just can't. I wanted to pick up something from New Orleans. I just don't think with Taysom Hill they're the same team. I'm going to say Jonathan Taylor puts up 100 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Houston Texans. Because he won me my fantasy playoff last week, so I'm on the bandwagon. He's looking to get stronger every week. 102 touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor.
With that, I am going to say that my guy, Gus the Bus Edwards, is a breakout game. 100 yards and a touchdown.
What?
I'm a big fan of Gus. Hey, don't hate on Gus Edwards. This dude gets like 5 yards per carry.
And they are playing the Jags.
Well,
playing a bad defense. They're going to be up. Why not? Hand the ball off their running team anyway. They don't want Lamar to get hurt again. Come on.
J.K. Dobbins, I'll make a side bet with you. J.K. Dobbins will double Gus Edwards' yardage.
Oh, all right. You're on.
All right. There it is, folks. All right.
Any other bonus picks?
I got nothing.
Okay. Jack?
It just
you got
seems like
or you got another one? Did you say that, Jack?
What?
Did you say you have another one or you got nothing?
I said I got nothing.
Okay. Chris, last call?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
Seems like low-hanging fruit to pick the quarterback against the Jets at this point.
You did that last week.
Yeah.
He did, and he was wrong, too.
What's the thing is I don't believe in Jared Goff. That's against the Jets. All those Rams had a great game last week, fantasy-wise. Jared Goff had a very, very, very average fantasy week for quarterback. He had 14.5 points. So, yeah, I'm not I'm buying the Rams. Just, to me, Goff's a game manager. He's not.
I think a bold prediction for the Rams game would be that the Jets will score 7 points.
Right. Yeah, that Rams defense showed up the back half of the season.
All right, then that does it. We're ready for Week 15.
Yeah.
Good luck to everyone in the playoffs. This is a big critical week. The winners play for the chip the following week in most formats, except this stupid 2-week ESPN thing. Boy, I hate that stuff.
Yeah, no, trust me. I'm in my 8-team league. We're just starting the playoffs this week because there's only 8, so only 4 teams went to the playoffs. And yeah, it's.
I can hire one of those two.
Yeah, the way the settings were, you either if you wanted to do a bye week, you either ended up playing in week 17 or week 15 for your championship. So it was like, fuck it, we'll just do we'll do 2-week playoffs. That's it. So yep. So if you didn't start the playoffs this week or last week, you're starting them this week. So good luck to you. Follow us on Twitter at The Fantasy Hack. Like us on Facebook. You can email thefantasyhack@ChristopherMedia.net. If you got any fantasy questions, go to ChristopherMedia.net, click on the PayPal button, click on the Amazon banner while you're ordering your stuff for Christmas. That helps us out without putting any extra money out of your wallet. And then wherever you can listen to a podcast, that's where we're at. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple, Google, again, wherever you get a podcast, you can find us. Set your lineups. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Later, everybody. Good luck.
Yeah, sure, the players bring some skill to the game, but if I don't put them in my lineup, who cares? Not me. I'm Eric Rubino, fantasy baseball GM and league runner-up 2 of the last 9 years. I use the Progressive Name Your Price tool with options based on my budget. And for a guy that's used to being in control, it fits. Like this runner-up t-shirt. Champ gets a trophy, but you can't wear a trophy. Boom.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
It's easy to find flooring online, but imagining those floors on your floor, a bit trickier. So Lumber Liquidators made Picture It, which adds our floors to a photo of your space. Just point, snap, and choose a floor. It's great if you're looking for new floors. Also, still fun if you're not. Try Picture It, only at llflooring.com. These are the floors homes are built on. Get free samples of your favorite floors sent to your home. Visit llflooring.com to order today.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.